Everybody, this is Dream, and we have a three-game slate here for the late games Sunday, and then the two games Monday for the NFL. This is Primetime slate on DraftKings. So in this slate, we have some good options at each position. Obviously, we're going to have to save some money here. Obviously, again, it's going to be beneficial at tight end and defense to really do that. But overall, I think we have some pretty good options available in the slate and should be a good slate to build some pretty top tier type lineups. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. Before I get into it though, let me just say shout out to the Patreon people. Also, thank you guys for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. And let's go ahead and get into the quarterbacks. So I have two quarterbacks listed here. The top guy is Josh Allen for Buffalo. They're in the best matchup, and he's got the highest likelihood of touchdowns and yards and everything else. And so he's the top option on the slate. I think he's in a great spot here against Tennessee. And so that's the guy I would probably go with. Then Jalen Hurts is the next guy for Philadelphia. I think he's in a great spot here against Minnesota, who it should be a high scoring game, and so that's really going to benefit him. He also runs the ball really well, so he's going to be somebody that we're going to take a look at to get lots of yards in both ways. So that's really the top two guys that I would choose from. I mean, Kirk Cousins is kind of in a decent option as well, and then maybe Aaron Rodgers can bounce back, but it's hard to trust him right now. And then Tannehill and Fields are both just not very good quarterbacks, at least, especially against tough defenses for both of them. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get into the running backs. So, my top option is Derrick Henry for Tennessee against Buffalo. Now, he's not super ideal because the Buffalo defense is pretty stout, but I still think he's in a good spot and a guy that is pretty much matchup proof at this point in his career. Then we have Derrick Henry. I just said Derrick Henry. Dalvin Cook from Minnesota against Philly. He's probably going to get the most rushing attempts on the slate, and so that makes him a top tier play. And obviously, you're going to have to find some value in order to save up to use him, but I think he's in a great spot here against Philadelphia. And then we have David Montgomery for Chicago against the Green Bay Packers. He should probably be second or third most running plays for the slate, and I think he's in a good spot here to have a better game than he had in week one, where he only got 26 yards, and he should have touchdown potential in this game as well. Then Miles Sanders for Philadelphia. He should get 10 to 15 rushes, and though it is a little bit of a by committee situation here, I think he's still going to be the top tier guy, and he shouldn't have any trouble against Minnesota's defense. At wide receiver, my top guy is Stephon Diggs, obviously, for Buffalo. He should get a lot of targets from Josh Allen, and he will be in line for potential touchdowns. Justin Jefferson is another great situation for himself for Minnesota against Philadelphia. Somebody you got to consider at that position. And then to get a little bit less expensive, we have Adam Thielen for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, he didn't have a great first week, but he's going to have a better situation this week. And so he should have some upside in this matchup. And then, let's see. Oh, Alan Lazard. He should be back for Green Bay, so he looks like a great option, considering that nobody else on Green Bay seems to be good at all. So there is the top few wide receivers. At tight end, we really only have two options, one of them being Dallas Goedert for Philly. He seems like the auto lock for this position, but you could offset him and go to Robert Tonyan for Green Bay if he can get a better game. The only problem is that he's really limited in snaps and stuff, so I don't know that he's somebody that we can really rely on. It's really not, there's really not much here at this position. That's why Goddard looks like a must play basically. At defense, I have the Bills and the Packers as my top two defenses, and of course they're also the most expensive on the slate. The Bills have a little bit of a tougher matchup against Tennessee, but they do have more upside since they have, stack potential and stuff like that, and interception potential. Green Bay is mostly getting a big benefit for going up against a terrible team that has not a very good quarterback that they should be able to take advantage of. Now, they didn't do great against Minnesota last week, but I still think they're in a good spot in order to do well this week. So that's what I have at the defense. So now at flex, I'm going to give you 6 guys to take a look at, one from each team that I think could have a breakout game or a game that's going to be making worth watching. So for Philadelphia, not that's the wrong guy. I'm sorry. Let me just go this way. I was thinking it was Devontae, but I clicked the wrong one. For Chicago, it's Darnell Mooney for the wide receiver. Now, he's didn't do much last week, but I think he's going to get some more opportunity this week and have more options. He's been on the field enough where it looks like he's going to get some opportunities, so it's just a matter of time for him to have a big game. For Green Bay, Romeo Doubs is going to be the guy. Where is he? There we go. He's going to get some targets. He's just got to get them, and then he's going to have to deal with Lazard coming back. But honestly, nobody on this team has really shown much upside, so he's in a good spot to potentially have a big game. Those are pretty Hail Mary-ish options, but at Tennessee, Robert Woods has got to be the clear-cut best flex option. He didn't have a good week in week 1, but he is a good enough wide receiver, and their other guys are mostly rookies, so Tannehill's got to throw the ball somewhere. So Robert Woods is a guy that can typically have a pretty solid game. For Buffalo, I have Isaiah McKenzie. He looks like he's gonna have a decent season, even though he only had 3 targets in week 1. He did pretty decent with the ball in that game. And then Gabe Davis may be out, and if he's out, it looks like he's going to be out, at least at this point. I think that's going to really up his potential for a role. You could also take a look at Jamison Crowder from that perspective. Minnesota, KJ Osborne. It's really hard to find a lot of good options here, but he should get some opportunity and play some of the snaps, so I think he's somebody to take a look at. And then for Philadelphia, finally, we have Devontae Smith. That's who I was looking for initially. He got 4 targets in his first week, but he didn't get any catches. But I think he's going to be able to bounce back in this week and get a couple of catches and make himself a viable flex. So I think it's overall like a pretty good slate of 3 games. Try to mix and match some of these flex options with the top tier guys and see what kind of lineups you can come up with. If you have any comments or questions about the players, feel free to leave that below. Feel free to join the Discord, and have a nice day, guys.